Welcome to your deep dive. Today we're going to zero in on something that could be like incredibly useful as you consider your next big step, U.S. business partnership agreements.
Oh, yeah.
You're thinking about teaming up with someone and we're diving deep to like help you prepare.
Right.
Think of it as exploring the business prenup, as our source put it so cleverly.
It is a great analogy, actually. And for this deep dive, we're taking a close look at a recent episode of Smart Money Talks with Alex and Mia.
Okay.
They had some real gems about partnership agreements, and we're excited to unpack those for you.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
What exactly a business partnership agreement and why is it so essential?
Well, in the simplest terms, a business partnership agreement is a legally binding document that outlines the rules of engagement for your partnership.
Okay.
It covers everything, each partner's rights, responsibilities, contributions, how decisions are made, even what happens if the partnership dissolves. It's really about protecting everyone involved.
So it's not just about avoiding conflict, but actually having a clear roadmap for success.
Exactly. Think of it like building a house.
Okay.
You wouldn't start construction without a blueprint, right?
Hey.
A partnership agreement is your blueprint.
Okay.
It makes sure that everyone is on the same page from the start.
Yeah.
And helps prevent misunderstandings down the line.
That makes a lot of sense. But what's the real risk of not having a business partnership agreement? What happens if you just decide to wing it?
Well, if you don't have a written agreement, you're essentially leaving your business fate up to the default rules of your state.
Oh.
And those rules might not align with your vision for the partnership or adequately protect your interests. It can be like navigating a minefield.
Oh, wow.
You might get lucky, but you also might step on something that blows up the entire venture.
Okay, now that's a visual I won't forget.
Yeah.
So let's say you DO decide to be proactive and create a business partnership agreement.
Right.
What are some of the critical elements that Alex and Mia emphasized in their podcast?
Well, one of the first things they tackled is business structure and ownership.
Okay.
It's crucial to define who owns what percentage of the business and how profits and losses will be shared.
Right.
You'd be surprised how many partnerships hit a snag because they didn't clearly define this from the beginning.
Right. That sounds like a recipe for resentment and arguments.
Yeah.
What other key components should be included?
Alex and Mia really stressed the importance of outlining roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
Each partner should have a clear understanding of their individual duties for areas of expertise.
Right.
This prevents duplication of effort, missed deadlines, and the dreaded, "but I thought you were handling that" situation.
Definitely a point worth emphasizing. Avoiding confusion and finger-pointing is key to a healthy partnership.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They also highlighted the decision-making process.
Okay.
How will you make big decisions as partners?
Right.
Will it be a unanimous vote, a majority rule, or something else? Having a predefined process in place can prevent gridlock and ensure smooth sailing when those tough calls arise.
That's a great point. You wouldn't want every small decision to turn into a battle, especially when you're trying to move the business forward. Speaking of moving forward, what about the financial side of things?
That's where capital contributions come in.
Okay.
The agreement should clearly outline who is contributing what to the partnership, money, assets, intellectual property, and sweat equity.
Right.
And it's equally important to address what happens if the business needs additional funding down the line.
Right.
Will partners be required to contribute more? Is there a process for bringing in outside investors?
Thinking through those what-if scenarios is so important. It's like having a financial safety net for your business.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of finances, let's not forget about salaries and distributions.
Right.
How will partners be compensated? Will they take a regular salary, or will profits be distributed based on their ownership percentage? How often will distributions occur?
Right.
All of these details need to be spelled out in the agreement.
Transparency is key when it comes to money matters. You want to avoid any surprises or feelings of unfairness down the road.
Absolutely. And speaking of potentially difficult situations, we can't forget about dispute resolution. Even the best partnerships can face disagreements.
Right. Disagreements are bound to happen, especially when you're working closely with someone.
And that's why Alex and Mia recommended having a plan in place for handling conflicts.
So what does a typical dispute resolution clause look like? What options do you have? So what does a typical dispute resolution clause look like? What options do you have?
Well, there are several approaches. You could opt for mediation, where a neutral third party helps facilitate a conversation and guide you toward a mutually agreeable solution.
So it's a bit like having a referee for your business disagreements.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Mediation is often less formal and less adversarial than going to court. Another option is arbitration, which is more formal.
How is that different?
In arbitration, you present your case to a neutral arbitrator who has the authority to make a binding decision. It's typically faster and more private than going through the court system.
So it's a bit like having a private judge for your business.
Exactly. You can think of it that way. Of course, the agreement should specify how the arbitrator will be chosen and what rules they will follow.
It sounds like having these options spelled out in advance can really help de-escalate a conflict before it gets out of hand.
Absolutely. It's all about having a clear process in place so that disagreements don't derail the entire partnership.
And let's face it, even with the best intentions and a solid agreement, sometimes partnerships just don't work out. What did Alex and Mia have to say about that?
They emphasize the importance of having a well-defined exit strategy, including a dissolution clause. This outlines what happens if a partner wants to leave the business, or if the partnership needs to be dissolved entirely.
So it's about planning for the what-ifs, even if you hope you'll never need it.
Precisely. A clear exit strategy can save you a lot of heartache and legal headaches down the road. It covers things like how assets will be divided, how outstanding debts will be handled, and what happens to the business itself.
Thinking through those scenarios in advance is key to a smoother transition, even if things don't go as planned.
It's about protecting yourself and the business, even in the face of difficult circumstances.
And I imagine it also forces you to have those tough conversations early on, which can strengthen the partnership in the long run.
You hit the nail on the head. Alex and Mia actually shared a real-life story of a business partnership that dissolved because the partners never discussed an exit strategy. When one partner wanted out, they were completely unprepared. It turned into a legal nightmare that cost them both time and money.
Wow, that's a cautionary tale. It really highlights the importance of being proactive and addressing those uncomfortable what-if scenarios up front. It's almost like a form of insurance for your partnership.
I couldn't agree more. You're investing time, energy, and resources into this venture, so it makes sense to protect your investment with a solid partnership agreement.
Now, aside from all these essential components, Alex and Mia also offered some great practical tips for anyone thinking about creating a partnership agreement right.
They did. One of their biggest pieces of advice was to get professional legal help. Don't try to draft or review the agreement yourself, especially if you're not familiar with legal jargon and the intricacies of business law.
So it's like having a skilled architect design your house instead of trying to do it yourself with just a DIY book.
That's a great analogy. A lawyer can help you craft an agreement that is tailored to your specific needs and protects your interests. They can also help you navigate those complex legal concepts and ensure that the agreement is legally sound.
Definitely worth the investment. What other advice did they offer?
They emphasize the importance of putting everything in writing. While verbal agreements might seem fine in the beginning, when everyone is optimistic and excited, they can be incredibly difficult to enforce if things go wrong. Having a clear written document that outlines all the terms of the partnership is crucial.
So no handshake deals and pinky promises when it comes to business partnerships.
Precisely. It's about protecting yourself and your business by having a legally binding document that outlines everyone's rights and responsibilities.
It seems like a common theme is being prepared for those uncomfortable scenarios like disagreements or a partner wanting to leave.
Absolutely. And that was another one of their key tips, planning for the what-ifs, even if you hope you'll never need to use those clauses. It's about thinking through potential challenges, having a plan in place, and being prepared to navigate those difficult conversations.
Speaking of those conversations, Alex and Mia had one final piece of advice that I found particularly insightful.
Yes, choosing your business partner wisely.
They compared it to getting married, right?
Exactly. Entering a partnership is a significant commitment, and it's essential to choose someone you trust, someone who shares your values, someone who has complementary skills, and someone you can see yourself working with for the long haul.
It makes sense. Just like a marriage, a business partnership requires open communication, mutual respect, and a shared vision for the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Take your time, do your research, and have those open and honest conversations before you sign on the dotted line. Don't rush into a partnership just because you're excited about an idea or because you feel pressured.
That's such valuable advice. It's a reminder that building a successful business partnership is about much more than just a legal agreement. It's about finding the right person, having those tough conversations, and building a strong foundation based on trust and mutual respect.
Well said. And remember, a partnership agreement is not a static document. It should evolve as your business grows and changes.
So it's like a living document that should be reviewed and updated periodically.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to revisit the agreement, make adjustments as needed, and ensure that it still accurately reflects the needs and goals of the partnership.
That's a great point. You wouldn't want to build a house based on an outdated blueprint, would you?
Absolutely not. It's all about staying adaptable, being proactive, and ensuring that your partnership agreement continues to serve its purpose, protecting you and your business.
Well, this deep dive into business partnership agreements has been incredibly insightful. We've covered a lot of ground, from the essential components to the practical tips, and even those real-life cautionary tales. I think our listener is well equipped to navigate this important step in their entrepreneurial journey.
I agree. We've explored the what, the why, and the how of creating a solid foundation for a successful partnership.
And now it's time to leave our listener with a question, to ponder something, to really spark their thinking as they move forward. So, listener, as you consider taking that leap into a business partnership, what questions would you ask a potential partner before even thinking about signing a partnership agreement? What are those deal breakers, those non-negotiables that would make you reconsider the entire venture?
That's such a powerful question. It really gets to the heart of what makes a partnership work.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the legalities and forces you to consider the human element, the compatibility, the shared vision.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, a business partnership is a relationship.
Right.
And like any relationship, it requires open communication, mutual respect, and a willingness to navigate the inevitable ups and downs together.
Couldn't agree more. It's been a pleasure unpacking all of this with you today.
Yeah.
Hopefully our listener feels more informed and empowered to make those crucial decisions about their future business partnerships.
Absolutely. And remember, listener, this deep dive is just the beginning.
Right.
Keep asking those tough questions,
Mm-hmm.
keep exploring those what-if scenarios, and keep building those incredible partnerships that will help you achieve your business dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time.
If this podcast helped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos. Thanks for watching.